Mike Vick was here with us last week, and Shasta this week talked about a little bit of not seeing many women of color out on the LPGA tour, and seeing some people out there let her believe that she could get there. And Mike Vick said, there was very few black quarterbacks that had been successful at a high level in the NFL, and seeing some black quarterbacks was important in his belief system to getting there. How important is that, seeing someone like you succeed, to you believing you can get there? Is that very important to you? I see a few nods of heads. Is that the only way that you believe you can get there? Only way that you can get there? Is that the only belief system?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think that you need to have someone who looks exactly like you in a higher position, but I think it's certainly helpful to see that someone with your same background can do it, so it'll motivate you to do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sounds kind of cheesy, but you could end up being that for someone.
Yeah.
If you decide to pioneer, like be the first woman or person of color or anything like that in a certain industry with a certain position, you could definitely inspire others to follow suit.
Absolutely. That leads me into a little bit about where I wanted to take you today to talk about my journey. And Maddie said it in great words, is being one of the first. And interesting enough, I just wrote a book, and I didn't bring it with me in here, but I published it a couple of weeks ago, called Being One of the First. And it's really important to see someone like yourself in a position to achieve things, and you believe when you see them, they've done it, that means now I can do it. But then there's so many times in life that there's no one out there like you doing that, and you have to be the first, or you're going to be one of the first to do it. And how do you believe in yourself that you truly can do that and draw on that? So I want to start my journey with you a little earlier and take you back to my high school days. I was a high school football player, and I was very fortunate. I grew up in an all-black neighborhood in Montgomery, Alabama, and we had a very good, iconic high school that had been successful for several decades as a great football powerhouse in Alabama football in the all-black league. And it was a school called Booker T. Washington High School in Montgomery. And when I was a small kid, me and my brother aspired to becoming players on that team and making that football team, though very few people from our neighborhood had ever really made the team and become stars on the team. I really believe that I could do it and my brother could do it. We could make this football team. And so as I journeyed through my life, that was the deal. I go to the high school football games. My dad and my brothers would go to the game, and I see all these great players, and it was so exciting that, boy, and I see them, become stars, and people asking them for their autographs and all that. And I want to be like that. That's what I want to grow up and be. I want to make that football team. I want to grow up and be that. And so through some turns in this life, I grew up and I was a pretty good football player. And then we got to middle school, and they didn't have football in middle school in Alabama for a while in the black schools. And so my last year of middle school, they developed a league for football for all middle school, all the black middle schools in the state and in the city of Montgomery. And I finally hadn't played football for years, got to go out for the football team, made the football team, and was fortunate enough that year, the first year, to lead my team to the city championship, and I was voted the MVP of the league and the MVP of the championship game. So it was off to a good start. But now I get to go to this iconic high school that I dreamed about for years, and I'm gonna go and try to make this football team where all the big stars were. And the first thing all the players told me is, you were successful down there and where the little kids play. You're up here with the big boys. You're not gonna be that successful with us. So they didn't exactly welcome me in because I was the MVP of this little league. But I managed to get in and compete a little bit in my first year there, which was in the 10th grade. In my opening game, I was thrilled, and not to brag, but I'm bragging. My opening game was as a first year player playing a big school out of Birmingham. I led us to victory with 2 touchdowns in my opening game. And at that time, my fellow players started saying, maybe this kid's gonna be okay. Maybe he can actually play with us. But fast forward, my 10th and 11th grade year, we were playing. I was so happy that the starting backfield was me and my brother, you know, which was unbelievable. And so we're playing together, and we got the Alabama school system integrated, the playoffs, to where you weren't just playing black schools against black schools to get a championship. Every school got to play in this championship to determine the state champion. And that has been going on now for 3 or 4 years. And our team made the state championship in my 11th grade year. And we got to compete, and we won our first playoff game. And it was so exciting. And then we played the second playoff game against a big powerhouse school from Birmingham. And we got our butts kicked. Really bad. It was just, wow, it was ugly. But that was the 11th grade. But we were so excited because most of the players on our 11th grade football team were mostly 10th and 11th graders, mostly 11th graders. And we knew coming back our senior year, we were going to be a team to reckon with. We had a chance because of all the talent we had. We were going to be the first black school to win the state championship in Alabama since they integrated the system. And it was so that we had so much talent, and we knew this was our big chance to make a statement. So we were excited about that. And so getting ready for spring practice at the end of the junior year, you go into spring getting ready for next year. They said, everybody wants to go out for the football team, show up in the gym today at 3 o'clock. Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, you show up at the gym, and we're going to talk about next year, going into spring practice, getting prepared for this senior year that we know is going to be exciting and good for us. So, it wasn't a big deal to most of us because we knew who was going to be on this team because we were good, we had all this talent. And so, there may be a few additions. We show up at this football gym to sign up that day, and when we showed up, there were, as I keep saying, there was 3 white men in suits. And I know a lot of you don't know a lot about black schools, but in an all-black school, white men in suits are never a good thing. So that was not good. And we stood there and looked, and they said, we got good news and bad news for you guys. The bad news is that this great iconic high school is being shut down, and we're closing the doors forever. End of this school year. School goes away. The good news for you is that you all get to try out for the football team at your new school starting Monday. This was Friday afternoon. Starting Monday, you're going to get you started. And there's a reason I want to take you through some of this track. But so now, all of a sudden, this team